Hey folks, we're back with the September edition of Meeting You Where You're At. On this episode, we speak with Jeni Lu. Jeni is a powerhouse, whether she's running 3 5Ks a week, raising her family, selling real estate, or maintaining her lifestyle blog. Jeni does everything with success in mind. Jeni is the creator of the lifestyle blog Wicked Northshore, which focuses on the Boston Northshore and Southern New Hampshire. Jeni feels her purpose is to improve the community and the people around her. I think you are going to enjoy this conversation with Jeni Lu. And for more information about Jeni, please visit wickednorthshore.com. Hi, Jeni. How are you?
I am excellent, Richard. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming on. It's really exciting to talk to you. I know we've been trying to do this for a little while, but schedules are always difficult, especially here in the summertime. But I'm so excited to talk to you today and learn more about what you're doing and Wicked North Shore and all of the great work that you're doing up here on the North Shore, I guess. And excited to jump right in. So, Jeni, I love to have an opportunity for folks to just kind of tell their story a little bit, kind of a little bit about you and your background, and then kind of what drove you into becoming a realtor, becoming someone who is as involved in the community as you are. And we'll get into all of that. But first, I just would love to hear the audience have an opportunity to just hear a little bit about you and where you come from.
Thank you, Richard, for letting me share my story.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I help people buy and sell homes in the Boston North Shore and Southern New Hampshire areas. I didn't wake up one day saying, I want to be a salesperson.
I want to be a salesperson. Yeah, this is a tough career. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Actually, it was, I actually studied to go to medical school.
Oh, wow.
I graduated from business school, and somehow I ended up being a realtor.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It wasn't a straight path for me.
Right.
At the time, I was a supervisor at a warehouse distribution center.
Oh, cool.
For
logistics and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for a major retail company. Okay. And I was there for almost 9 years.
Wow.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
I wasn't being challenged anymore. I wasn't supported by my boss or the management team. So, I kind of let things go.
Right.
And,
right.
That for me, that's hard because I've always been very driven. I was valedictorian in my high school.
Wow.
And so to not put in my best, I was just kind of living in denial and resisted leaving for years, because the thought of going to a new job and learning new skills and proving myself all over again just did not sound appealing. So I found that if you don't make a decision, life makes a decision for you.
Totally. Yeah, it has to. It will jump into the driver's seat. You have to be in the driver's seat, right? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at that time, I needed a way to create income that also had flexibility around my kids' schedule. I know you mentioned having a daughter, so having kids,
I can empathize.
You got to work. Yeah, you got to work around their schedules. Like I had to drop her off at school and pick her up from the bus stop. So I thought about what have I been good at in the past?
Yep.
And what did I enjoy? And my sister always said that, Jeni, I'm too creative and, to be doing a warehouse job.
Yeah, sure,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I thought about, so what have I been good at in the past? And the craziest job I ever did was in college. It was I worked in sales for the summer. I worked 80 hours a week.
This is the books. I wanted to ask you about your history of being a door-to-door book salesperson.
Exactly. You remember. So I sold books door to door. And that was the hardest job I ever had. And it was also the most rewarding job I ever had.
How so?
So, because when the first week, so back up, I was in college. I had no internship, nothing going on. So I just decided to drive out with a team of other students to California. We
Oh,
had no
wow.
place to stay.
Okay.
We literally had to knock on doors to find a place to stay. And
Mm.
then
This is
that first
pre
week,
Airbnb for sure, right?
yes,
Yeah.
pre Airbnb. And I was just, that first week, I remember the first day, it was awful. I got so many no's, so much rejection.
Yeah.
Second day, same thing. Third day, I was crying. I
I
sat on
bet.
the sidewalk,
Yeah.
on the curb, on the sidewalk, and I called my dad and I said, I hate this.
Yeah.
But I stuck through it. I saw my peers leave left
Right.
and right, but I
Right.
stuck through
You're gonna
it.
have the
And
fortitude. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this.
yeah, the perseverance, the
Right.
fortitude.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just a very profitable summer. I met a lot of great people doing it.
Right.
So it was fun.
That's cool. That's such a unique thing. Like anytime, I mean, door to door sales, it's like, from you think of that as like, oh, that's like the 1950s, that's like the 1960s. But yet I actually had a person come to my door this week, trying to offer me the usual sort of Windows siding, that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
it's still there are still people out there very much hustling, very much going door to door. And you got to admire that, right? You got to admire that because not everybody's cut out to do that for sure.
Yes, you need some thick skin. I
Absolutely.
empathize with those people, and
Absolutely.
they come to my door still as well. And I'm just like, oh my God, you poor
You
person.
poor person, I know.
Would you like a bottle of water?
Right. Truly. Yeah, truly.
Anything?
Unbelievable. When you I think there's gotta be, you mentioned, moving into realty as an opportunity for flexibility, as an opportunity because it kind of worked with your family and whatnot. And I can completely empathize with that, being a parent and being a working parent. But there's gotta be a lot of unique joys to being a realtor, helping families find their home. You see the dream home, and it's so much harder in today's economic climate, right, to afford a home. People work so hard to afford a home. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on kind of the softer side of the work that you do.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, why I really enjoy being a realtor is I get to help people move on with their lives.
Right.
I had a woman reach out to me, and she had lost her husband a couple years before that.
Mm,
And she just wanted a new start for herself and her
right.
three kids. She was a
Oh,
single mom,
wow.
and she just wanted a new chapter in life. And
Right.
for her to trust me
Right.
to help her with
Right.
that, selling one home and buying a new home during COVID,
Right.
that was an honor. And, I actually really admire her
Right.
for pulling it together, being there for her kids. And I could relate, being a mom.
Right.
And it just brought me a lot of happiness to see her now moving into her new home, and she's loving it there. And
Mhm.
we've met up after
Oh,
she
that's
moved, and
nice.
like she's become a friend. We've
That's
had some
nice.
mutual friends. And
That's nice.
so it really is a joy to see
Yeah.
people be able to move on in the next step of their lives.
How have you seen just, and I mentioned it for a second, but it's so challenging now, right? The economic climate of home ownership and you've been a realtor for a while now. So how have you seen that and people's ability to kind of it's hard, right? To really get out there and try to buy a home in 2022.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
don't admire buyers, although it is getting a
Yeah.
little better now. The market is normalizing. It's starting
Right.
to shift in the buyer favor.
Sure.
So, don't
That's
get
good.
discouraged.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're looking for a home now, do not get discouraged. It's
Yeah.
actually a good time with people dropping out. The ones who stay are getting their offers accepted,
Right.
and not
Sure.
for crazy over list price. It's going at list price
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
So I mean, I haven't seen the whole cycle of everything. I'm still relatively new myself, Richard.
Right.
I'm only 4 years into
4
real
years. Okay,
estate.
but that's a good amount of time. 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enough to know enough,
Right.
but still very driven to help people.
Yeah, that's great. And that's kind of what I was getting at is I know, like I said, the joys of being a realtor is not just, obviously you want to make sales and everybody wants to be successful, but like you say, helping people, right? And kind of the sometimes we take like really small things for example, we take really small things for granted, right? Like I have a home, and my wife does a lot of work with the unhoused community in Lawrence, Haverhill, Methuen, and to see people who are, who are unhoused and don't necessarily have a path to housing it's hard to see. It's hard to watch sometimes. So,
Yeah,
you
that's
just do do
scary.
what we can do to help those folks, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit, Jeni, about kind of, you start this blog, this Wicked North Shore. I know you're very focused on helping people kind of integrate into their community and find opportunities within their community and build a sense of community. Certainly that's, doing that work has got to be a pull on you in addition to your full-time job and your parenting and whatnot. So one of the things I'm curious about is what made you kind of decide to start Wicked North Shore and focus on building a sense of online community.
That's a great question. Um, you are right.
Hmm.
Being a realtor, being a mom
Yeah,
takes my priority. So Wicked
sure.
North Shore does take a backseat sometimes. It's
Sure, of
hard to keep
course.
up with social media,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's an extension of who I am. I have
Interesting.
always been one to help out the people near me.
Mm.
I've always been a giver.
Yep.
Actually, I don't know if I mentioned before, but I used to be a wedding coordinator,
Oh,
and
fun.
I just stumbled upon that role only because I was loving the process of planning my own wedding at the
Right,
time, and I was helping other brides plan theirs. They were inspired by my photos, my wedding, and so
right.
I helped and I helped tips and advice, and then all of a sudden these people just came up to me and said, Jeni, I want you to help me plan my wedding. Will you
Right.
coordinate my wedding? Will you do mine? And then one thing led to another. I never advertised, but I did all these weddings in Boston
Mm.
and at some very nice high end hotels.
This is so interesting. I see this
Yeah.
like so buying a home, major life event, getting married,
Yes.
major life event. So I
Yeah.
see you're kind of drawn to helping people work through some of the biggest events or the biggest things that are ever going to happen to them in their life.
It's absolutely true. I worked
Yeah.
with brides and grooms then, and now I'm working with couples to buy
Couples,
their
yeah.
new home.
Yeah, absolutely. Next thing you'll know, you'll be like working in maybe as like a birthing doula, helping people bring babies into the
Okay, we
world.
are not going there. I cannot do that.
That's so funny. So you basically with this, you said it sometimes it takes a backseat. I can empathize with that. Sometimes this podcast has to take a backseat to my personal and professional life, of course. But you talked about you were working as a wedding, as a quasi wedding coordinator, helping people join the community. So talk to me just a little bit about the mission of the blog. What is the
Oh,
blog trying to
sure.
accomplish?
Well, I try to provide helpful content to
Hmm.
local residents
Hmm.
and anyone who's considering moving to Boston or the Southern New Hampshire area.
Hmm.
My my thought process is if someone is going to move to this area, they have to know what's around. They have
Sure.
to love what's around there, and so I just try to provide tips on where
Yeah.
to go for the best hiking trails, or
Right.
this is a new businesses, things that are of interest to residents here or
Yeah.
anyone thinking of moving here.
It's a great concept, and I know that there's a lot of places that people can go to kind of consume this kind of content. I like the way that you kind of wrap it all up in the notion of like, look, you're like you said, this there you could live anywhere. Its community is really important. So let me kind of lay out for you like the bright spots of these communities, right? And here's what the lifestyle is like in these communities, and here are the events in this community. But then also, obviously, here's how you can live, work, play type of thing. How have you seen people interacting with the content? What have been the kind of the things that that have helped them and resonated with them?
Well, I've found that a lot of moms have found my parks blog very useful.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
I had a post year about all the water parks in the area.
Okay. Yeah.
So during the summer, people are always looking for where to take their kids. Um, I've had I've highlighted local businesses like
Hmm.
Wicked Axe in Haverhill,
Oh yeah,
and I
sure.
had some friends say they didn't even know that existed,
Existed.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Of
So, and the businesses, they love it when I feature their business. It's free marketing for them too. So
course.
it's a
Yeah.
win-win for the business owner and for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think so because especially since they're, if someone new into the community comes in, they want to know how they can interact with that new member of the community. Obviously, maybe support them, but then also potentially use them, or get their business right. We all, at the end of the day, these businesses are in business to be successful, right? Just like anybody else.
Yes.
So, I want to switch gears a little bit from Wicked North Shore and your blog and that work, but I'm still kind of really excited to hear about the impact that you're making on people's lives. Especially, I get the impression that you work with a lot of first time home buyers. Is that right, Jeni?
I do work with a lot of first time home buyers.
Yeah,
I think that one of my strengths is that I like to explain the process.
process.
So
Yeah,
I'll hold their
it's
hand
it's
and
hard. Yeah, it's
yeah,
confusing, right? Yeah,
yep. But I
yeah.
also work with a lot of downsizers and
Oh, okay.
relocators too. So
Okay.
I work with all sorts of
All
people.
sorts of people, yeah. Are there unique challenges to either of those populations? I would assume on the first time it's helping them understand what they can afford, where they can, find the type of community that they're looking for. But like you said, educating them on the process. You would think the downsizers, okay, they have the benefit of that experience. I'm curious as to how different that is for you as the person kind of shepherding them through the process.
Oh, it's very different. And
Yeah.
I've had to adapt myself and my style to each individual's
Hmm.
needs. So the first time home buyer, uh, they do need more handholding.
Right.
They also need parent opinions. So sometimes they want to schedule a second meeting, a
Hmm.
second showing to see the home. And in the crazy market that we were just in, that wasn't always possible. It was
Right.
like, hey, you see the home on Sunday and the offer is due Monday.
Gone.
You
Yeah.
can't get in to see the home again. It was like, you got to make a decision um, or have
That
them come with you on the original showing.
and that's going to be so hard because if you're again as a first time person and all of a sudden you're just trying to find your way through this process, and this process is is like you said, it's ominous and there's so many pieces to it and parts to it, and now all of a sudden somebody's like, look, if you don't do this now, it's not going to happen. You're going to miss out on this. You must have almost like a part-time therapeutic aspect to
Oh,
what you
I
do too.
absolutely do. And I really don't like rushing anyone into a
Right.
major life
Life
financial
decision.
decision,
Right.
but it is the pace of the market that's
Mm.
kind of putting that pressure on people.
Yeah, of
And ultimately, I support any decision my clients make if,
course.
so I'll
Yeah.
never pressure them to make any decision.
Well, it's such a major, like you said, it's such a major investment. It's probably the largest investment that you will ever make in your life, right?
Absolutely.
And to know that it's going to be something that you have to think, you have to make a decision on in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's just crazy, right? So
Yes.
unbelievably. And then obviously we talked a little bit about the mission of the blog. As the blog continues to evolve, like I said, I know you focus on here's an explanation of all the different communities and the events and the hotspots and all that other fun stuff. And I like the how you interact the lifestyle and everything. So it's not just necessarily about like commerce, but it's like you said, there's hiking and there's all these opportunities for folks to get together, and find community. Where do you want to see that go? Like, what would be the ultimate sort of place for you as you continue to evolve your blog and what you're trying to do in the sense of online community you're creating?
Well, one thing that I would like to see more of is videos. I'd love
Hmm,
to highlight more of these
sure.
businesses and local hotspots and
Yep.
areas with videos, because I think video just tells a better
Of
story than
course.
just
Yeah.
photos. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I'm very shy. So
Hmm,
I can speak one on one with people, no problem. I'm very
sure.
social in that way. But when
Okay.
it comes to being on camera, I've had friends lovingly tell me that my personality falls flat. And so that's something I'm trying to
These
work
must be
at.
good friends.
I know they gave me brutal, honest advice.
That's funny.
And so I'm trying to be more natural and just
Right.
try to highlight things and just show in videos. So I'd like to see more of that on
That's
Wicked
cool.
North
No,
Shore.
that's great. Yeah, I love that idea. I mean, certainly, like you say, video tells a story beyond, beyond what still pictures and text can do. And look, we're all very visual consumers, right? So I think that's a great thought process. Um,
Mhm.
oh, before I forget, I would love to just hear a little bit about your firm. Can you tell us a little bit about the firm that you work with and kind of have you been with them the whole four years that you've been doing this work?
So I work with Bentley's Real Estate. We're based out of Newburyport, Massachusetts. We
Mm-hmm.
have two offices there. Very young companies. We
Mm.
started in 2016,
No, it's young.
and
Yeah.
and since opening, we've been number one in the Greater Newburyport for the last like 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
they do a lot of innovative digital marketing. So
Hmm.
they've taken that top spot. I have been there the full 4 years
Four
that
years.
I've been a realtor.
Wow.
So that's all I know is working
Yeah.
at Bentley's.
Yeah, that's great. And I did a little bit of research on them, and I guess I did not realize that they were that. I guess young is a somewhat of a term to use, right? You said 2016 is still a fairly young organization, but it's local, right? I mean, so correct me if I'm wrong. There's no national affiliation to it, right? It's not part of like a big sort of brand, right, that you see with other sort of national realtors. And do you think if I'm correct in that assumption, I'm going to ask you a follow-up question.
You are correct,
Yeah,
Richard. It is
yeah,
a very local company.
yeah.
Like I said, based out of Newburyport. We do a lot of digital marketing. So we do
Yeah.
have reach, national,
Sure.
international reach, but
Right.
we're only two locations in Newburyport.
And so you can probably anticipate where my follow-up question is going to be because I mean I am so focused on community and our community. You must believe that really gives you an advantage. And I'm not knocking the national, realtors out there, the sort of what do you call them, name brand, right, national
Mm-hmm.
realtors out there. But what kind of advantage do you think that gives you guys?
Certainly, we're very involved in the
Hmm.
community. So
Hmm.
Bentley's was very smart. They took over the website newburyport.com.
Oh, cool.
So much like Boston.com,
Yeah.
Newburyport.com is like a hub for
Hub
all
of
things local
Newburyport. Yeah.
in the North Shore. So anyone looking for anything of interest in that area, Newburyport.com, it all is tied into Bentley's. We
Oh,
took over
cool.
that.
Oh, that's
So
great. That's really smart, actually. Yeah, but again, you're kind of staying focused on that local community, right? And
absolutely.
the things that kind of look. There's a lot of hardworking small businesses that need people to patronize them, right? That need them to help them out because it's harder and harder, right? Every year to kind of get noticed and sift through everything that's out there, right? That's cool.
Yes,
That's very cool.
Bentley's is very involved in the local community.
Yeah.
Actually, they work with a lot of local business shops. If you go into a lot of the stores in Newburyport, you'll see the little sticker, the VIP sticker. We have a
Oh, fun.
program that
Oh,
you can
cool.
buy a discount card and get a discount
Oh,
off the businesses that you support if you purchase that card.
oh, that's
So,
cool. That's exciting.
yeah.
And how do you yet integrate Wicked North Shore with Newburyport.com, or is it kind of separate? How do the two coexist?
They're separate because Wicked North Shore is completely me.
You and owned by
It's
you. Okay.
branded to me.
That's what I
Correct.
thought. Yeah. Okay. So that is kind of your personal brand and what you're trying to promote as well. That's great. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And I didn't ask this question, Jenny, but how long ago did you launch Wicked North Shore?
Oh, I would say a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And along the way, as you and I kind of talked about when we were pre-interviewing, it's a lot of work to maintain any sort of social media experience, blog experience, online presence. And I understand that you work hard at it, but how have you kind of found help along the way? Is there anybody that's been particularly meaningful to you and how you've been getting this together?
Oh, it absolutely is a
Yeah.
lot of work. I can't
Yeah.
wait until my 9-year-old daughter grows up a little bit and
Can
I
help
can
you out.
train her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will like love to have her help me write blog posts and do all of that. I
Yeah.
just can't wait. Right now, I do most of it by myself,
Yeah.
believe it or
You're
not. That's why
a
it's
one
not
woman
always
show. Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
why it's not always up to date. And I do what I can. But
Of
like I
course.
said, realtor and being a mom and being
Yeah.
involved in the community usually take priority.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's important. That's great. When you think about how you want Wicked North Shore to be successful and Jeni Lu to be successful and the things that kind of define success for you, I go back to a writing assignment that I had when I was 14 years old. You know, my English teacher at the time was like, hands out paper to everybody in the class. He's like, I want you all to write down, you know, what you think being a successful person is, or what you think defines success for you. And 14 years old, you have a very different um, perception of success than when you are an adult, right? When you're 14, you're like, oh, success for me is like, I'll have a Lamborghini and I'll live in a mansion and I'll do like these
That's
types of things,
awesome.
right? You know, yeah, yeah, because you're 14, right? And that's what you think about, right?
Yeah.
But you know, when you become an adult, your measures of success certainly change and your priorities change. So when you think about ultimately what kind of defines success for you, Jeni, kind of what kind of things come to mind? I'm super curious about that, and I know our listeners will be as well.
Shoes, lots of shoes.
Shoes, perfect. I love it. Done. Yeah,
Rothy shoes.
I love it.
I
I love
love
it.
my Rothy shoes.
Oh,
I
that's
have a whole
perfect.
collection. My
That is the
husband.
best answer I've ever received.
My husband is like hates that I have so many shoes and a big collection. But
That's the best
okay,
answer I've
okay.
heard. Absolutely. I
Hey,
love
I'll
that.
take a Lamborghini and a mansion too.
Right,
I'm
too.
still
Right, right, right.
14
Of
years
course.
old at heart.
Right. No, so am I. Believe me, we all are. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
all kidding aside,
Yeah.
I feel like success is the ability like to live your life the way you really want to and the
Yeah.
way you enjoy it the most.
Nice.
Being with my friends and family who I
Right.
respect and admire, that to
Mhm.
me would be a big successful.
Yeah.
If I don't have to worry about my aging parents or my
Yeah.
younger sister and my two daughters,
Yeah.
that would bring me a lot of happiness.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. No,
yeah.
you and I are kind of in a tough situation, right? Where we're kind of that sandwich generation, right? Of having to potentially care for our kids and our parents at the same time, which is a unique challenge for sure, right? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's tough for sure. I really admire anyone like you who, like I said, takes time to have a full-time job, work to maintain your family unit, but then is trying to find extra cycles in the day, right? Extra cycles in the day to be like, hey, I'm going to blog about my community. I'm going to do something that welcomes people to my community, that educates people to come into the community, show them, the highlights. It's a lot of work, and not everybody would wake up every day and say, "This is what I'm going to do." Right? I'm just going to kind of keep my head down, right, and just try to get through the day. So, so I really appreciate that you take the
Yeah,
time to
it's
do
a
that.
lot of work, but it's a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah, right. It's
Got to
fun.
keep it fun.
Yeah, keep it fun, and then the rewards will come as a result of that, right? So
Yes.
that's really cool. Good, Jeni. Thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed learning more about you and what compelled you to do what you're doing, and about your life as a realtor and Wicked North Shore. And will you stay in touch with us so we can see how things continue to go as the blog gets bigger and you touch more communities and impact more people's lives? Would you promise to stay in touch with us?
Oh, absolutely, Richard. I had so much fun. Thank you again for letting me share my story. This was quite an honor. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.